Hello, fellow seekers, and welcome to In a Nutshell with Erin. And today we'll discuss the Bhagavad Gita. This morning, I woke up in a particularly foul mood. My washer flooded and my kid's been sick, so I haven't been well rested. Hashtag single mom. And I do what I do every morning, which is write in my journal. And I write, am I just spinning my wheels? So much of the work that I do is self-driven and doesn't come with a paycheck. I spend hours reading scripture, listening to podcasts, writing. I make a podcast. I have a YouTube channel, primarily because I absolutely love it. And then I started to feel like, why bother? Then I'm not going to do anything. I don't need to do anything if I'm not going to be making money from it. And lo and behold, if my eyes don't catch the Gita, the book, and there goes the rest of my day. The underlying principle of the Gita is that we have a right to our actions, but not our actions' fruit. Meaning, we are creatures of action. However, the moment we get tied to what we'll get out of what we do, we're caught in a trap. We're in a snare that will never lead us to happiness. So the Bhagavad Gita is fascinating in that it takes place during a time in history where the Vedas ruled Indian thought. And during this time, we had Buddhism rising. And Buddhism believes that anyone, no matter your gender, your caste, your class, you could be enlightened. And Jainism, which is the basis of non-harm. So this particular piece was written during upheaval in the culture of India. And the story is a lot to do with renouncing, letting go of what we can't control, and acting in a way that is directly lined up with what we were put here to do. And today I'd like to discuss 7 key metaphysical concepts, which is woven throughout the Gita: karma, dharma, samsara, moksha, prakriti, the Gunas, and Purusha. That'll be the title of my first album. Okay, let's dive in. So, karma. Karma is Newton's third law that every action in nature has an opposite and equal reaction. Meaning everything I do has an implication and a ripple effect. Karma is the ability to look yourself in the eyes and ask, did I fall from grace? Did my actions line up with the person I want to be more often? Or am I in this perpetual spin of action, 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 where I'm not paying attention to the consequences? Karma is this idea that eventually we cultivate a pause. We take a moment before we do our knee-jerk thing, and in that moment, we get a choice. And we get to change the matrix. We get to change the playout of our lives. If we are a microcosm of the entire world and you start paying attention to your words, actions, thoughts, and deeds, you will definitely start to change the world. So karma means that when I act, there is a reaction, another reaction, and another reaction. So I want to start paying attention to the little messes, the little storylines that I'm leaving to play out and repeat the same storms. Dharma is one's duty, righteous action, sometimes translated as law. Each of us come into this world with certain aptitudes and interests. Our personal dharma is what we are inclined to and what lines up with this particular container that we came in. And a lot of people get preoccupied that it needs to be really righteous, like saving the turtles, and it might be. It, however, may be something so subtle as doing your job really freaking well. And Ram Dass says that a street sweeper could be a better street sweeper than a king could be a king. In the Gita, there's a line that says, it is better to do your own duty badly than to perfectly perform another's. If you are to mimic another person's life, you will be left feeling insecure, competitive, and comparative. It is your life that should be lined up with the vision that you have instead of a mirror of what someone else is up to. Next, we have Samsara. And think of it like a perpetual wheel, a roller coaster that we're never going to get off of. This is the mundane, cyclical nature of birth and death, where we're chasing the fleeting highs or avoiding the lows. For instance, you get an amazing job and you're riding the high of the amazing job. After a couple months, you know it's pretty regular, and you start to feel a lull. You're kind of bored or disinterested. So you're looking for that high. So you reach for alcohol, sex, drugs, another person to get that little boost, that fleeting high of happiness, only to then lose it and chase it. The same is true when we're in the depths of despair and we want to avoid the pain. We're trying to get out of the pain. And this human condition is then constantly chasing our sense pleasures that make us feel good for a moment or avoiding the things that we dislike. It is going round and round the same circles, and what we're after is the ability to disengage or find a steady state that allows us to no longer be pulled by pleasure or pulled by pain. In the Gita, there's a line, alike in hot and cold, pain and pleasure, gain and loss, the yogi has an equal mind. So moksha, the next concept, is getting free from that wheel of highs and lows. The imagery is of a snake biting its own tail. So we're getting out of that in order to be present with what is in front of us instead of trying to run like hell from the moment in front of us. Now we get into the nature of reality according to Samkhya school of Indian thought. And Samkhya believes that there are two realities happening at once. We've got the material world, and I am a material girl, which is Prakriti. The material world is anything that has a birth, a life, and a death. My body, your body, chair, the food you eat, the seasons, animals, anything that will eventually die and decay. So the material world also consists of your mind and your physical body. In the Gita, there's a line that says that like we throw out outworn clothes, we release the body until we get a new one. There's this belief of reincarnation, meaning there's a part of us that never dies, that is everless, ever present, unchanged, untouchable, that is alive in all things, and that's the spark of life, and that's known as Purusha, which translates as person, soul, Atman, consciousness. And the pain for the yogi, for the human, for the seeker, is when I become attached to the material world. So I think I am my body, I think I am my bank account, I think I am my job, And I get so bought into that storyline, but the problem is that everything in the material world is always in flux and changing. Meaning my body, if I'm obsessed with how good it looks, it's dying. If I'm obsessed with my job and my money, it's fleeting. So we are not our jobs, our roles, our money, our bodies. We're something so much more powerful than that. So the Purusha is the spiritual backbone. It's the part of us that is unaffected or uncolored by drama, story, or any history. So it is ever new, it is fresh, it is present, and it is watchful. The material world, Prakriti, is driven by the Gunas. Guna translates as strand, quality, or thread, and there's 3 of them. We have Rajas, which should be my middle name, and it is aggressive, it is productivity, it's anger, it is drive, it is movement, it is momentum. Rajas is associated with the color red. We've got Tamas, which is apathetic, think Eeyore, oh, why bother, heavy, dark. It's associated with the color black. And we've got Sattva Guna, that is peaceful, euphoric, at ease, content, equanimous. And think of it this way. You randomly, spontaneously meet a lover. You had no intention to meet them. You had no projection of the storyline, but you met, and it was a moment of sattva. It was born in a sattvic state. Another example is you're working in a job and you want to get recognized. You want to be seen, and you're in a rajasic state of productivity, of like competition. How can I get noticed? So you come up with this idea to get your company on the global scene, and it's an action driven by rajas, the quality of passion. And then imagine you're about to go on a vacation with your family, and you don't feel like it, and you're not in the mood, and you have to pack your bag, and your hair is greasy, and you know you gotta go, but you're tired, but you go anyway, so you lazily arrive at the airport for this family vacation. It's a tamasic state. So we eventually want to learn how to treat every moment, every idea, every love affair, every action from a state of sattva, of equanimity, of peace, of no tie-in to the end result. There you have it. Karma, Dharma, Samsara, Moksha, Prakriti, Purusha, and the Gunas. So I'll leave you with this. What an ordinary person does, be it act for the sake of the action alone, all the other people will follow. Whether they know it or like it or not, they start to do what we do. So make no mistake that when you start to act in a different way, not attached to what's in it for me, the people around you feel it. Second, it is better to do your own duty badly than to perfectly perform another's. Get really authentic. What are you here to do? And what is important to you? What's your mission right now? 3, there's a part of you, like the nature of all things, that is ever present, never changing, and it's the source of all your power. It's the spark between your eyes. Always go back to that central channel, your Purusha, your divine eyes that see beyond the chaos of society. And lastly, alike in pain and pleasure, hot and cold, loss or gain, the yogi maintains an equal mind. Get off the wheel of suffering. Step back, no longer attempting to chase whatever the eyes think are beautiful, or the nose thinks smells good, or the body thinks feels good. No longer driven by my senses for pleasure or pain. I'm neutral. I'm engaged and I'm present. There you have it, the Bhagavad Gita in a nutshell. More to come.